Good morning, church. We, the Balogun brothers and our friend Ademola here, have a short presentation on David and Goliath. As you listen, may you be blessed. 1 Samuel chapter 17, verse 1. Now, the Philistines gathered their forces for war and assembled at Soko in Judah. They pitched camp at Ephes Dammim between Soko and Azekah. Saul and the Israelites assembled and camped in the valley of Elah and drew up their battle line to meet the Philistines. The Philistines occupied one hill and the Israelites another, with a valley between them. A champion named Goliath, who was from Gath, came out of the Philistine camp. He was over 9 feet tall. He had a bronze helmet on his head and wore a coat of armor of scale of bronze, weighing 5,000 shekels. On his legs, he wore bronze greaves, and a bronze javelin was slung on his back. His spear shaft was like a weaver's rod, and his iron point weighed 600 shekels. His shield bearer went ahead of him. Goliath stood and shouted to the ranks of Israel, "Why do you come out and line up for battle? Am I not a Philistine? And are you not the servants of Saul? Choose a man and have him come down to me. If he's able to fight and kill me, we will become your subjects. But if I overcome him and kill him, you will become our subjects and serve us." Then the Philistines said, "This day I defy the ranks of Israel. Give me a man that we may fight each other." On hearing the Philistines' words, Saul and all the Israelites were dismayed and terrified.
Now David was the son of an Ephrathite named Jesse, who was from Bethlehem in Judah. Jesse had 8 sons, and in Saul's time he was old and well advanced in years. Jesse's 3 oldest sons had followed Saul to the war. The firstborn was Eliab, the second Abinadab, and the third Shammah. David was the youngest. The 3 oldest followed Saul. But David went back and forth from Saul to tend his father's sheep at Bethlehem.
For 40 days, the Philistine came forward every morning and evening and took his stand.
Now Jesse said to his son David, "Take this ephah of roasted grain and these 10 loaves of bread for your brother and hurry to their camp. Take along these 10 cheeses to the commander of their units. See how your brothers are and bring back some assurance from them. They are with Saul and all the men of Israel in the valley of Elah fighting against the Philistines." Early in the morning, David loaded up, set up, and set out as Jesse had directed. He reached the camp as the army was going out to its battle positions, shouting the war cry. Israel and the Philistines were drawing up their lines, facing each other. David left his teams with the keepers of supplies, ran to the battle line, and greeted his brothers. As he was talking with them,
Goliath, the Philistine champion from Gath, stepped out of his lines and shouted his usual defiance.
and David added, when the Israelites saw the man, they all ran from him in great terror. Now, the Israelites had been saying, "Do you see how this man keeps coming out? He comes out to defy Israel. The king will give great wealth to the man who kills him. He will also give him his daughter in marriage and will exempt his father's family from taxes in Israel." David asked the men standing near him, "What will be done for the man who kills this Philistine and removes this disgrace from Israel? Who is this uncircumcised Philistine that he should defy the army of the living God?" The men repeated to him what they had been saying and told him, "This is what will be done for the man who kills him."
Now, when Eliab, David's oldest brother, heard him speaking to the men, he burned with anger at him and asked, "Why have you come down here? And with whom did you leave those few sheep in the desert? I know how conceited you are and how wicked your heart is. You came down only to watch the battle."
"Now what have I done?" said David. "Can't I even speak?" He then turned away to someone else and brought up the same matter, and the men answered him as before. What David said was overheard and reported to Saul, and Saul sent for him. David said to Saul, "Let no one lose out on account of this Philistine. Your servants will go and fight him."
Saul said to David, "You are not able to go against this Philistine, for you are only a boy, and he has been a fighting man from his youth."
But David said to Saul, Your servant has been keeping its father's sheep. And when a lion or a bear came and carried off a sheep from the flock, I went after it, struck it, and rescued the sheep from his mouth. When it turned on me, I seized it by its hair, struck it, and killed it. Your servant has killed both the lion and the bear. This uncircumcised Philistine shall be like one of them, because he has defied the armies of the living God. The Lord who delivered me from the paw of the lion and the paw of the bear will deliver me from the hand of this Philistine.
Saul said to David, "Go, and the Lord be with you." Then Saul dressed David in his own tunic. He put a coat of armor on him and a bronze helmet on his head.
David fastened on his sword and tried walking around because he was not used to them. I cannot go in this, he said to Saul, because I'm not used to them. So he took them off. And taking his staff in his hand, chose 5 smooth stones from the stream. Put them in the pouch of his shepherd's bag, and with his sling in his hand, approached the Philistine.
Meanwhile, the Philistine with his shield bearer in front of him kept coming closer to David. He looked David over and saw that he was a boy, ruddy and handsome, and he despised him. He said to David, "Am I a dog that you come at me with sticks?" And the Philistine cursed David by his gods. "Come here," he said, "and I will give your flesh to the birds of the air and to the beasts of the field."
David said to the Philistine, "You come against me with sword and spear and a javelin, but I come against you in the name of the Lord Almighty, the gods of the armies of Israel, whom we have defied. This day the Lord will hand you over to me, and I will strike you down and cut off your head. Today I will give the carcasses of the Philistine army to the birds of the air and the beasts of the earth, and all the world will know that there is a God in Israel. Today I will give the carcasses of the Philistine army, and everyone gathered here will know that it's not by sword or spear that the Lord saves. For the battle is the Lord's, and he will give all of you into our hands."
As the Philistine moved closer to David to attack him,
David ran quickly towards the battle line to meet the Philistine. Reaching into his bag and taking out a stone, he slung it and struck the Philistine on his forehead. The stone sank into his forehead, and the Philistine fell face down on the ground. So David triumphed over the Philistine with a sling and a stone. Without a sword in his hand, he struck the Philistine and killed him. David ran and stood over him. He took hold of his sword and drew it from his scabbard. After he had killed him, he cut off the Philistine's head. When the Philistines saw that their hero was dead, they turned and ran. Then the men of Israel and Judah shot forward with a shout and pursued them to the entrance of Gath and to the gates of Ekron. Their dead were strewn along the Sharon road to Gath and to Ekron. David took the Philistine head and brought it to Jerusalem, and he put the Philistine sword in his tent.
as Saul watched David going out to meet the Philistine, he said to Abner, the commander of the army, "Abner, whose son is this young man?" Abner replied, "As surely as you live, O king, I don't know." The king said, "Find out for me whose son this young man is." As soon as David came back from killing the Philistine, Abner took him and brought him before Saul, with David still holding the head of the Philistine in his hand. "Whose son are you, young man?" the king asked.
David said, "I'm the son of your servant, Jesse of Bethlehem."
God bless you.
Amen.
I think we should stand up to give them an ovation. That was beautiful.